Alright, so what's happening is Vince walking down the street right now, going to take care of some business. And I wanted to actually bring attention to a few things that I had on my mind, right? One in particular is relationships, right? Relationships. So let's talk about the three main components of a motherfucking relationship, right? Very important, ladies and gentlemen. Very important, right? So one main component of a healthy relationship, right, is two people in a relationship being able to function through communication, right? Communication. So one very, very, very important factor of any relationship is fucking communication. Like, if two people don't have any communication, you should not be together. Like, you just shouldn't be together, right? So another main component of any relationship is trust, right? Why would you be with somebody if you don't trust them? Right? I mean, obviously, like, you have to build up a trust base, so to speak, right? But, I mean, let's be real, people. Like, if you've been with somebody for like 6 months and you still don't trust them, you should not be with that person. So, when we're talking about communication and trust, if you've been with somebody for like 6 months and you guys don't communicate and there's no trust factor there, you shouldn't be together. That's very unhealthy. Okay, so we've talked about communication and trust. Let's talk about honesty, right? So communication, trust, and honesty are the three main components of any relationship. No matter who you are, how old you are, how long you've been in the relationship, right? Well, if you're in that honeymoon stage, that first month or two where you're just like dating somebody and you're like, okay, well, I don't know how this is gonna go, whatever, then I can understand. But if you've been with somebody for that 6 months is where like everything needs to just be like, okay, like we've hung out enough times and she's came over or he's came over, and there should be some balance by 6 months, right? And see, the thing about it is, like, I noticed like men and women both the same. These days, like, there's not a lot of trust, right? There's not a lot of communication, and there's not a lot of honesty. So if you're in a relationship with somebody, how can you expect to go anywhere without those three components? You know, some people, I don't want to talk about this or this or this or that because it hurts. Like, okay, so it hurts. Like, it hurts to talk about some painful shit, right? But in the end, like, if you work through it with somebody, then I think the outcome will be way better than just holding it inside and not letting that person know what's going on, right? And that's just communication, right? You should trust that the person that you're with respects you and loves you enough to communicate, for you to communicate your honesty through them. If you can't communicate your honesty through them, then what are you doing with that person? You know? One thing everybody should remember is people get hurt, right? People's hearts are broken, relationships don't turn out the way that it was expected. People have expectations for this shit. Like it does not work out, right? So when you think about that factor, right, take something else into consideration. One day you'll be in a relationship with somebody else, but try your hardest not to view that person the way you viewed the person you were with last. Like, so don't let what that person did be the outcome of how you treat the next person and how that relationship turns out. I'm just saying. I only say this because I'm speaking from personal experience that I've seen this happen. So, That's what I got on that. Right? Relationships, man. They can make us or break us. And as a man, fellas, when your lady says she wants to talk, hear her out. Sometimes she don't want to hear your input. Sometimes she just wants to vent. Listen, the best thing you can do and the best way you could be there for your lady is to be her best friend. So anytime she calls you should be able to talk. She should be able to say, man, this is going on and this is going on, and you shouldn't judge her for anything that she says. And if she wants a response or some rebuttal, then you should be able to give that back tenfold. Now take into account, sometimes women call and they don't want to talk about shit. Right? They got shit going on with them, but they don't want to talk about it. Beat around the bush. Talk about whatever she wants to. But also at the same time, let her know that you're there for her. You feel me? Like, let her know that you're there for her. And that whenever she is ready to process through some of that shit, that you're there to do that for her. Just a few thoughts on relationships for me. Vince. It's a beautiful day outside. Look at the sky. In a beautiful area. I'm out. Take into account everything that I said, ladies and gentlemen. Deuce.